I want to tell you about a time in my life that was really hard. I had just quit. I had walked out of my very busy orthopedic practice at lunch. I just had enough. I could not see one more patient. And when people asked me what happened, there was not one thing that happened. It was a lot of things. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. And what I didn't know was that I was a victim of moral injury. What I was doing was killing my soul. The system was chewing me up and spitting me out. It was making me be a doctor that I wasn't proud of, that I didn't want to be. And honestly, I was seeing so many patients. How can I even know if I'm even doing a good job? I can't even remember what their names were, much less what I actually did for them. And so I was standing there. I had just quit. I was getting a sandwich. And I had been told that I couldn't have a break. I was so tired. I had been cranking for so long. And I said, I need a sabbatical. And they said, no, you can't have one. If you want a break in medicine, you have to have a diagnosis. And I said, I don't have a diagnosis. I'm sick of working? That's not a diagnosis. And in my contract, I was required to have a diagnosis to be able to take time off. That was devastating. And I was not okay. This was not okay with me to not do a good job for my patients, to not be able to take a break. Now, as I love my staff, and they came up with some really creative ways to get me to come back. I only quit for 3 hours, and we put our heads together, and they gave me some ideas that were acceptable. Honestly, my thought was I was going to go sell flip-flops on the beach and not do medicine at all. But what they came back with was pretty smart. I worked 2 half days in the morning, I finished out my surgeries, and I closed my practice to new patients. During that time where I actually had some breathing room, I was working only 40 hours a week, I was able to do some soul searching. And I found that regenerative medicine and orthobiologics had the option, had the promise of allowing me to do a better job for my patients, to do a better job for me. And so I was like, oh man, what if I could do this differently? What if I could doctor differently? And so I was very excited and I was all in and I dove into the deep end of the swimming pool. I was doing regenerative medicine. And then I was a little lost, or a lot lost. I didn't really know how to do this. I'd opened insurance-based practices before, but I've never opened a cash-based practice. And so there was a lot of trial and error, and I hired coaches, and they got me started with a lot of good foundational education and foundational pieces of knowledge. But I still had to figure out a lot on my own. And there was a lot of guesswork, a lot of false starts and missteps, and maybe some missed opportunities, and a ton of trial and error. And at times I was pulling my hair out going, oh my gosh, is this really worth it? And I can't lie, it was painful and anxiety producing for sure. But when I look back, what I needed, what I wish I would have had was more guidance, more hand-holding. And over the years, I've talked to countless doctors just like us. We get into this and they all kind of say the same thing. They're like, man, don't you wish we would have had a how-to book or next steps? And I go, yeah, gosh, that would have been awesome, because I felt like I was bumbling around, happening upon little tidbits here and there by accident. And so now that I've kind of come full circle and I really have a practice that I love, my patients have phenomenal results, And I'm excited to go to work, honestly, every day. It's great. And to that end, I want all of my colleagues to have the same experience every day. Have that excitement back, a new way to do doctoring for our patients, so that not only do they get great results, but we are able to be the doctors we knew we could be on the outset. And so I've created so much content. That's why I created my YouTube channel. That's why I created my PRP Now program, my Orthobiologic Practice Launch System, is because I believe that orthobiologics and cash-based practice is the secret sauce to success. It is the way, the vehicle in which we find our voice and our freedom to be able to care for our patients the way we know we should and can, and not lose ourselves in the process. So please jump on in. I have so much to share with you, and let's get going with the secret sauce. And this is your path to freedom. Come on in.